Hi, this is Patrick. So today I'm going to cover removing the fuel bowl and the stock fuel pump off an old body style 7.3 liter F2 350 PowerStroke Diesel. What you're going to have to do is, other than the obvious removing that, you actually have to get to, there's a return line right here. And then back here behind the air conditioner compressor is another. You'll have to take the air conditioner and the bracket, the power steering pulley bracket off. And you'll also have to take the alternator off, but not the bracket. In this video, I'm going to reuse the fuel lines there that go from the fuel pump to the back of the heads. On another truck, I'd actually changed the fitting there, and later on decided that it was probably a wiser idea to go with the steel lines instead. So anyway, I'm going to cover all the tear down, or I'm going to cover all this piece by piece in each series, first starting with the removal of all the original stock garbage, and then proceed on to the installation of the rest of the electronic fuel conversion. To take the alternator off, there's just three 13mm bolts in your wiring. It's not hard. Take off your air conditioner compressor. You've got four 10mm bolts there, and then you've got 4 bolts holding that cover on. Now let's go back here and I'll show you what it looks like on another engine so you can be more familiar with where these bolts are. Here on another engine I have, I'll show you where the bolts are to take it off so it's easier to see. There's one down here at the bottom. You see where that is? Okay, and there's number 2. I know that's hard to see, so I'll just take a picture of it. And there's number 3. And number 4 is right beside it there. Careful not to miss it. I'll take a picture with the flash on so you can see it. Here you go. So to begin with, grab yourself a 13mm socket, wrench, and flat-headed screwdriver. First, really, before you start prying before you start taking the bolts off, go ahead and pry the connectors out first. It's not good to let your alternator just hang by the wires. And check that out, whatever wise guy put that together. And I hope you got a bargain basement deal on that repair. So anyway, now that the alternator is ready to come out, looks like it wasn't doing very good sitting in there the way it was. Let's break those bolts loose on that thing. It must be on there pretty tough. I'm actually going to replace this alternator with the one that's on my truck because it's newer. And the alternator's out. Now we can get to the fuel fitting over here, but before I really fool with that, I just want to get everything off here. Hasn't been off there in a while. Now to take your air conditioner compressor off, like I said, you'll need 10mm socket. These are usually in there pretty good. Make sure to keep up with your bolts. And now, the air compressor removed so you can get access to those bolts on this bracket. Hopefully that air conditioner is still good. Like I said, there's 4 bolts, 13mm that hold these on. It's kind of a tough fit, but you can do it like this right here. It's not hard. There, with that out of the way, now we can get down here to the other fuel line, or fuel return fitting. So next, what you want to do is remove your glow plug controller relay. So you need an 8mm socket to remove your glow plug relay. And that's out of the way. Next, you'll want to remove your Y pipe. And if yours is in it like the shape this one's in, it's time for some boots too. So I've already got a set of those. Like I said, if yours is all nasty like this, it's probably a good time to change them while you're there. I am. Clean this thing out too while I'm at it. Anytime you open holes into the engine, they must needs be covered. If you drop something down in there, it costs you a whole lot of money to go get it out. If you don't get it out, or you didn't know that there was something down there, and you go to start your truck, it won't run right very long. It may not be running. I was working on a Zuzu rodeo and I dropped a screwdriver bit down a spark plug tube because I failed to just take a second to cover up the spark plug tube holes. Because of that, I'll make sure to never neglect to plug up any holes in the engines before I get started on it. So here on your fuel bowl, you want to put a drain pan underneath your truck and flip that to drain the fuel out. Or you can just not put a drain pan under there and drain it anyway. I've also unhooked the batteries on this truck so I don't have to worry about shorting anything out, and I highly advise that you do so as well because you're going to be working around live connections like your glow plug controller. When you open that valve, make sure and take the lid off this, and all that diesel will run right on out of there. Yummy. So, what you'll need to do next is remove the fuel return lines from the fuel pressure regulator right here that's on the fuel bowl. What you'll need to remove these is some 9/16 inch wrench. Is a 9/16 inch wrench. Make sure that you've opened the fuel bowl here before you go and open up any other lines, so there's no pressure on the fuel lines when you go to do this. You don't want that crap in your eye. Go. Take a flathead screwdriver and you want to cap both these lines between your, or on the top of your fuel pump rather. So next you'll need a 13mm socket to take out the bolts that hold down the fuel bowl. Meter socket and extension. to go down there at the bottom and cut that one hose that connects the fuel pump to the fuel bowl. It's a pain to see and get to. I got a wiring harness right here to worry about. And I'll show you what to do with it in a minute, but in the meanwhile, just go ahead and unclip it. Oh yeah, you also need to undo the drain tube. It's right down here. And you got your fuel bowl free, and you got some wires hanging out there. And that connector, it won't go through there. People always ask me, what do you do about that? Well look, there's only one real thing that you can do about this. Take that nasty 8-up connector off your IPR. Unplug your fuel bowl heater, water and fuel sensor, and just pull that crap right on through there. And this one right here is liable to need to be replaced. And they're not cheap when they do either. But nonetheless, that's how you get it out of there without cutting it. I cut it before and then I realized later you don't have to do that. And just get you a star bit and take that right off there, and you'll have your wiring. And that's the fuel bowl. So here we're just left with the fuel pump. First thing we want to do is take a 1 1/4 inch and give it a turn. After a couple of turns of the wrench, you should be able to turn this out by hand, because so after a bunch of fighting, I finally got the banger bolt out. Now, like I said, the fuel pump's held on by 2 10mm bolts. I already broke them loose. They're generally tough to get out too. Now here's where you'll really want to be careful with the fuel pump. There's a little tappet that's on the bottom of this pump that attaches to the pump and drives the pump with the camshaft of the truck there right underneath. And if you drop that down the block, you're going to enjoy that. So I've read where people broke fuel pumps off trying to get them out and everything. Best way I've seen to do this is grab that thing and just twist it a little side to side. Now, this one feels pretty good, like it'll come out with a little effort. The aim is to pull straight up. Try not to use any tools if you can get by with it. Like I said, you do not want to break this thing. There it goes. There we go. This is that tappet I said. If it fell out of that pump like that, you wouldn't be happy at all. That right there, fuel pump. And the fuel pump out of the way. You see we've got a gaping hole right there. And we don't want diesel fuel running down into our oil, so I'm gonna have to make sure to plug it right up. Do your best to not get any crud down in that hole. Take it straight to your engine, because you'll also need a 7/8 inch freeze plug to accommodate that hole there, because you'll need to close it off from now on, because there won't be an a mechanical pump there any longer. And as you can see, it cleans this valley up really nice once you get that mess out of the way. It makes it very possible to place a high pressure oil pump in a very reasonable amount of time. So now all we're left here is this stainless steel line here. That feeds the back of the heads. And we're going to have to remove that so we can cut and modify it to fit our intake fitting, our fuel feed fitting. So here you'll need a 15mm wrench. We're going to remove the fuel line fitting from the back of the head. Here on the driver's side, you know, on neither side you really have much room to work over the turbo, but said 15mm wrench. And there's other ways of doing this, not taking it off, but you don't have to reuse this when you go to put your fuel system on. You can fit this however you want to, but this is the way I'm doing it. I'm going to reuse these steel lines and put new flares and seals on them, and all the way to a Y splitter. I don't want to put rubber hose again around my turbo. Yes, it works fine around the turbo, it doesn't hurt anything, but the stainless steel will last a lot longer and will put up with a lot more heat no matter what. So I'll be staying with that as far as supply goes, because it's right next to the exhaust. So in order to get to the other side, you'll need to take the exhaust out. This truck here has the old stock 2.5 inch Cobra head on it. And we'll remove that, and we're also going to be installing a 3-inch down pipe while we're at it, hopefully. You just go ahead and take the retaining clip off. And go underneath the truck, remove the bolts that hold it there. I'm actually not going to make a video of that. My camera's running low and I've got a whole lot more work to do. Here right behind the air conditioner, we have a return fuel line fitting and the hose. Now, I'm actually going to put new hose on this like I did on my first truck. So what you do is you just take these off. This is a 9/16 inch. It's really a good idea just to replace these and not reuse them. You want to clean your area real good. You don't want to get anything down in there. I'd already done that to the back of the engine before getting started after I'd cut the down pipe, else you'd see a ton of metal shavings all over the place back there. And there we go. They kind of really got those tightly in there, so. And then that leaves you with this fitting right here. Now, I'm taking that out and going to put an AN6 fitting on there. Now, if I hadn't have already bought my plumbing and stuff, I'd actually suggest you just might maybe use an AN4. You do what you want, but now an AN6 does work fine. It just costs a little bit more. But anyway. And you want to just move on over here to the passenger side of the block. Do the same thing. Try and get the camera set up where you can get a good angle on it. You do not want to break this tube right here. I did my first time and I had another one laying around, which wasn't a big deal. I don't know what they cost to replace, but I know that you'll need it. So, do not break it. You can't just bend it and move your way around here. This actually needs to be removed. So just grab a 5/8 inch wrench and take it right off. Now, don't just do this right here and hope that you can get by with that. I really highly advise you take this tube off and not bend or break it. So once you do, you either have to make one or go find one. Now, I can't get the camera on where it's at, but I'll show you on this other engine over here. It goes right here to the exhaust manifold. So that tube runs all the way up the side of your block and up next to the high pressure oil pipe. And that's where you'll have to take the other one off at. Like I said, I can't catch that on camera for you. Here's what that tube looks like that I just had to remove out. I think it's an exhaust back pressure sensor tube. So let's get back to taking this return line fitting here off the passenger side. Now that we actually can get to it. These hoses are so old they don't actually swivel anymore. Oh, no it does. Okay, so here on the driver's side, in front of the block, we have this return fuel fitting. 13mm, take it off. And there you go.